Hey guys, welcome to today's lesson. Today we are looking at expanding expressions and brackets. There's going to be a lot of revision, hopefully. Not much new, I'm hoping. I'm going to go through it quite fast. If you want to pause this, have a go at the questions, but by all means go for it and then you can play it later on. Okay, the very first one, gents, we're just expanding these terms. Okay, 3 times x is 3x and 3 times 2 is 6. The next couple of questions, of course, we're now doing binomial products, okay, because there are two things being multiplied together. That's why we call them binomial products. So the first one, x times x is just x squared, and then x times 3 is 3x. 2 times x is 2x, and 2 times 3 makes 6. Now, even if it doesn't say simplify, we want you to simplify. No matter what happens, if you can simplify, you must. So in this case, we have some like terms. 3x and 2x is 5x. So 5x, and we're going to add the 6 there. Perfecto. All right, the next one, 5a times 2a is 10a squared. And then we're going to multiply the 5a and the minus 3 makes negative 15a. Negative 1 times 2a, of course, is negative 2a. And the negative 1 times negative 3 is positive 3. Again, I can add or subtract the like terms in the middle there. I'm left with 10a squared minus 17a plus 3 as my final answer. Okay, again, nothing really new. Now, this one might be a bit more challenging. You've got a couple of ways that you could do this, of course. I personally like just to expand the first set of brackets out and make it 5a plus 5 outside of a plus 2. You might determine to expand the brackets first and then times the whole lot by 5. That's up to you. But now once I've done that, I'm going to expand them out just like I was doing. 5a times a is 5a squared. 5a times 2 is 10a, where 5 times a is 5a, and 5 times 2 makes 10. I then simplify finally 5a squared plus 15a, and then plus 10 as my final answer. But you could have expanded the brackets first of all, and then times the 5 through it. Whatever you float your boat, I guess. The next one, hopefully you might recognize the significance of this next question. If you don't, that's okay, we'll talk about it very briefly. A times a makes a squared. A times minus 2 makes minus 2a. 2 times a makes plus 2a. And then 2 times minus 2 makes minus 4. Now, hopefully what you will recognize when you add these or simplify these together, you have a minus 2a and a plus 2a, which cancels out to 0. And then we have a minus 4. Now, do you remember the significance of this question? Hopefully you might have said the word, or the sentence, the difference of two squares. Okay, so the difference of two squares is where you have, basically they're exactly the same in both brackets, but one's a plus and one's a minus. For example, you could have 3a plus 5, and as long as I had the 3a minus the 5, you could do it really quickly by simply squaring the first term and squaring the second term and putting a subtraction in between them. It's really fast. So for example, the square of 3a would be 9a squared. The square of 5 would be 25. And I'm just going to put a minus in between, and that's job done. So if you remember that rule, super easy to remember. If you remember it, it's super easy to do, but it might take a little bit of time to remember that. But a difference of two squares, they must both be opposite signs though. If they're not, we create a question like f. Now you might remember this one. A plus 2 and a plus 2, which gives you a squared plus 2a plus 2a plus 4. And that simplifies to be a squared plus 4a plus 4. So they're exactly the same. This is what we refer to as the perfect square. Okay, and again, like the difference of two squares, they're exactly the same, but now they're identical. So they're both pluses or both minuses, which means if they're both the same sign, they no longer cancel each other out. Now, the rule that we often went through last year with you was this a plus b all squared. We square the first, we times them together and double it. And that's because, and you'll see in that previous question, there's two of them, and we square the last. So you can see when I expanded this one above in question F, that we had 2a and 2a. I've got two of them. That will happen every single time. So for example, if you had a harder question like 3a plus 5 all squared, a quick way would do that would be to square the 3a, which makes the 9a squared, to times these together. 3a times 5 is 15a, and then double your answer. That makes the 30a, and then we square the last to make it 25. Now, if you can't do that, don't fret. The quicker way would be to do it like I did that first example, would be to just write them out like that, and then times them through. 9a squared plus 15a plus 15a plus 25, and you'll see when I do that, we get the same answer, 9a squared plus 30a plus 25. Okay, that's the bell. I've got to run. Hopefully that made sense. Have a quick look at the questions. I hope you're enjoying yourself, guys.